Welcome everyone who is now attending the third panel of the Transfer Students panel series by College Leap. My name is Emily Sham. I'm a Diablo Valley College student studying communications and the Vice President of Membership Enrollment at College Leap's DVC chapter. This series of student panels for transfer students is an online webinar series held to bridge the information gaps between community college students and four-year institutions. As you bear with me, let me introduce College Leap in greater detail. College Leap is a nonprofit organization aiming to empower community college transfer students, especially international students, by providing leadership, mentorship, internship, and volunteer opportunities, and by building mini programs and projects. You can find more information about our projects and events on our website, collegeleap.cc. You can also apply to become a chapter leader at the College Leap's chapter in your college, or you can start a College Leap chapter as well. If you're interested in doing so, you can learn more about the application process on the website. Now, back to TSPS. This is a program under the Transfer Council at College Leap to fill the information gap between community college and four-year universities. This full series is free and open to all community college students. There will be many other panels until the end of February of 2021. The upcoming sessions are UC Santa Barbara, UC Davis, and UC Irvine. The goal is to cover about 20 to 25 UCs, private universities, out of state, and Ivy Leagues. You will find all the information you need on our website regarding upcoming panels under the Transfer Panels section, which will be updated as time goes on. The sessions will be recorded and posted on our webpage. If you missed our last session, which was UC Berkeley, and I think we also did, oh man, the name is blanking on me.
UCLA.
UCLA, thank you. UC Berkeley and UCLA, you can find a written summary on it and a link to recording on our website. Before starting today's panel, I would like to add a disclaimer. The information shared on TSPS only represents panelists' personal opinions and should not be dependent solely on making any decision. College Leap is not in any way responsible for the information shared in TSPS. You should always consult your college advisors before making any changes. Today's panelists will share their experience at their current universities, their transfer experiences, and tips, as well as their community college educational journey and extracurricular suggestions. At the end of the session, you will have the opportunity to unmute yourself and ask the panelists questions. Without further ado, I will let the panelists introduce themselves and start this third TSPS session. And if we could start with Yuhan when it comes to introductions, please.
Hello guys, so I'm Yuhan Ming. I'm also one of the international students. I'm currently majoring in international business major. Yeah.
Thank you. Nelly, if you could introduce yourself next, please.
Hi everyone, my name is Nelly. I am a rising senior at UC San Diego, majoring in real estate and development and minoring in business. I transferred from Foothill College, and originally I'm Armenian from Russia.
Awesome. It's so great to have you here. Haik, if you could give us an introduction, please.
Hi, I'm Haik. I transferred from Pasadena City College. I'm currently majoring in computer science, and I'm looking forward to answering any questions you might have.
Thank you. Great. And Reagan, last but not least, if you could give us your intro.
Hello, everyone. I'm Reagan. I'm a junior at UC San Diego majoring in chemistry, and I'm from San Jose, California, and I transferred from West Valley College.
Thank you so much. I am excited to have all of you here today. We're going to get started with some of our questions next. As I said at the beginning, we'll be answering the Q&A section at the last 30 minutes or so of the panel. But first, we're going to start off with some of our basic questions. Our first question revolves around, our first few questions revolve around current experience. And everyone will be having a turn to answer them. How is your current experience, how is your experience at your current university, UC San Diego? And what is one thing that you like the most about it? And Yuhan, if you could start us off.
So for the current life and University of California, San Diego, I think it's pretty good. I mean, one thing I like so much about San Diego is the weather and the environment. Because my major is international business, so the classes and the location I study is near the beach, the Torrent Pine. So it's very nice, like the afternoon, I finish my class and then I go outside, I can see very beautiful landscape and the ocean beach. So I think that is a pretty bonus point to go to UCSD. And also for the second question, so the second question is about the one thing I like and dislike the SD.
It's just one thing that you like most about UCSD.
Okay, so I already see I like the beautiful landscape, and the things I may dislike a little, I think is about also about the environment. I think SD is located in the very silent city around the La Jolla. I think the whole La Jolla city is not like for example, the LA, the downtown LA or the downtown San Francisco. If you are a person that like going outside to have some of the curricular or some of the extraordinary activities, UCSD is not maybe the best option for you. But if you are more like the introvert, you like the silent environment, and you can, I mean, enjoying the silent environment to study or to talk with your friends, and I think is better. But it's not for the people that like the crowded environment. And for
Thank
me,
you.
I'm the person like I'm more crowded, I think. So maybe sometimes I may think staying at the UCSD is a little boring. So that is why sometimes I will go to LA to have some fun with my friends.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your experience. I'm also a bit more of a city person myself. Nellie, if you'd like to share about your experience at UC San Diego and what you like about it.
Sure. Well, to be honest, my experience since last year changed quite a bit due to COVID. As you guys might know, everything is online, so that fact does change your experience a little bit. But other than that, I'm having a great time here. As Yuhan said, the location is amazing. I really like that about San Diego. Beach is literally 10 minutes drive from my home. And I enjoy all of my classes and all of my professors currently. So I really like the time that I spend here. Also, regarding what Yuhan said, that this area is very quiet, I think that helps students to actually focus more on the academics and not get distracted. So that might be beneficial actually for students that get easily distracted by the environment.
Thank you so much. Heike, if we could have your opinion of your experience at UC San Diego and what you like about it.
Yeah, my experience has been pretty good so far. I definitely, it met my expectations. I've been looking forward to coming to college for a while. Definitely not in this online format, but I guess you gotta make do with what you have. I do really like, I think everyone loves the weather here in San Diego. And I don't know too much about like the city because I've pretty much stayed in this room like the whole time. So can't say anything there. But in terms of one thing that I like, I think that the school like has helped us out with shifting to this online environment a lot. Like, and I think there's still a lot of opportunities for things you can do like from your computer. Like a ton of clubs have their own online like meetings and stuff. So you could still get involved with that. The school, like the teachers, the professors, I feel like they do put in effort to make the online class it's still productive, like it would be if you were in person.
Awesome, thank you. That's Interesting. If we could also ask Reagan the same question about your UCSD experience and what you like about it.
So this is my first quarter at UCSD, so I don't have much to go off of, but I'll say this is not what I expected, but no one did, honestly. But despite the virtual format, I agree with Hike that this is still, I still feel like I'm learning in my classes, and I feel like I'm getting interaction with my peers and TAs and my professor. Yeah, and just, I don't know. This is kind of difficult for me to answer because I'm only 2 weeks in.
No, it's good. It's good. Thank you for
Yeah.
sharing. We're gonna go to another pretty basic question, but this is gonna go to Johan first. Why did you choose UC San Diego? What made you choose it over other universities?
And so before I went to UCSD, I actually applied. I remember it's a 7 UC California universities. I mean, and I think UCSD is not my best option because I got rejected from UC Berkeley and UCLA. And I mean, still, I like the UCSD. And I think it's a reason I go to UCSD because the rank. Yeah, so I think before I choose a university, what I did is basically based on its rank. So Berkeley, UCLA first and second, and then the UCSD, the third.
Great. And if I could ask another follow-up question to you, Johan,
Sure.
do you think UC San Diego is a good choice for what you're studying or what your major is?
I think it's pretty good. So for what I learned is more about the business field. So and each major classes, I think professor will give us a lot of some of the practical case about the hot companies now, and also give us a lot of opportunities to have a presentation and also some of the practical skills to go outside to actually interact with some of the business people. And I think it's a pretty, I mean, excellent opportunities for the freshmen.
Awesome. Thank you so much. If I could pass that question on to Nelly, why did you choose to transfer to San Diego and what made you choose it over other universities?
Well, mostly for the program that I found, which is fairly new at UCSD, I'll be a third graduate of this program this coming year. And of course, I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna lie if I don't mention the location, because location is amazing. La Jolla will always be my favorite. It also played a big role when I was choosing between the universities, and just the overall atmosphere. When I first came here, I saw it. I really like it, and that kind of what made me decide that I want to come here.
Cool, cool. I also really considering transferring to UC San Diego for the weather and the location. But if I could, oh, sorry.
You should.
It's between Davis and San Diego for me.
I got to UC Davis too. I was considering UC Davis and UC San Diego, and of course I picked UC San Diego.
Cool, cool. If I could ask the follow-up question, do you think UC San Diego was the best pick for your major?
For me?
Yes.
I believe so, because not many schools, especially UCs, have the program I'm having here at UC San Diego. So definitely.
Great, thank you so much. Hike, if I could also ask you, why did you choose UC San Diego and why over other universities?
Yeah, so in my first year of community college, I had to decide, or I was already thinking about where I would apply. And looking at the transfer requirements, UCLA and Berkeley, while they are maybe more prestigious than the other UCs, they have a lot more transfer requirements, at least for my major. So right off the bat, that was a reason to that maybe UCSD had not a lot of transfer requirements, which was appealing. So that already sort of made me favorite UCSD. And then when I actually applied, I applied to UCSD, UC Santa Cruz, and UC Irvine. I got accepted to all three, so it was up to deciding between those. I ultimately went with UC San Diego because I feel like it's maybe the computer science program is the best out of the three that I got accepted to. The weather, like everyone's been saying, is awesome here, so it would be nice not to have to rely on an AC or something all year long. And also, I'm a rock climber, and UC San Diego is pretty, like, we have a rock climbing gym on campus, and I've got friends here who rock climb, so that would be a nice thing to do. And so yeah, I think those are the main reasons that I picked UC San Diego.
I always wanted to try that, but never got a chance to. I really want. Is it open?
Yeah. I don't, not right now, unfortunately. Yeah.
Do you also believe that San Diego was the best college for your major, or not really? Or
I mean, I don't. If you really want to like look at rankings, then maybe UC San Diego isn't number one. But I feel like the difference is so small that you shouldn't be like looking at rankings and go like, oh, this school is number one and this is number two, so the number two school must be terrible. Like, I think the difference is so tiny. You're still going to get an amazing education at pretty much any UC. So I think while it is, I think it's a great school for my major. I don't think a community college student should be placing such a high weight on that, and more on how you would feel at the school based on everything else about it.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that answer. And Reagan, if I could pass off this question to you, why did you choose San Diego, and why over other universities?
Well, when I was doing my college applications, I only applied to UCs, and that's because of research. Like, that's obviously very important to my major. And it's how I get experience, how I learn how to work at a professional lab, and it'll help me a lot in the future, regardless of what I do. So I knew all the UCs are known for research. So I knew wherever I went, I was going to get a great education. There's great professors, great opportunities at every school. But again, the reason I chose San Diego was because of location. San Diego is one of my favorite cities because I think it's a good balance of beach and city. It's a lot of fun here. There's a lot to do. So yeah, I agree with Hike as well. I wasn't really looking too close at rankings because of the fact that you're going to get a good education no matter where you go. You just got to make the best of the opportunities you're given. But you want to choose a school where you think you'll be happy and where you think where you'll want to be and you'll want to study at. So I think that's more important than the actual ranking of your school.
Okay. Wait, can you hear me still?
Yes.
Okay, great. I thought I muted myself. You said you did a lot of research. Do you think San Diego was the, wait a second. Okay, here we go. Do you think San Diego was the best school that you would have chosen? Or what was like a close competitor for you?
I would say a close competitor was UC Irvine. And again, it just came down to location. But as far as research, yes, I definitely think I made the right decision. This is something I could have included in the first question, but I actually managed to get on a research team despite everything that's going on. So that really shows that I made the right choice in terms of school.
Awesome. That's good to hear. And thank you for sharing your experience. We're going to move on to the next question. And let's see. Was there a noticeably large culture shift when you transferred? And this is to Yuhan.
So the culture shift, you mean the difference when I was in community college and then compared to the SD?
Yes. Yes. Sorry, I should have been clearer.
Okay, so I think if like I want to compare that, I think one major difference is like the scale and size. For example, I still remember when I was in community college, if I have any questions, I can immediately touch my professor after class. But in the UCSD, for some of the big six skill class, it's very hard you can touch with professor immediately after the class is finished. So I think this may trigger some problem if you are not, keep your study very ahead or earlier. That may cause your grade is not pretty good, especially on midterm or final. So, for this part, I think it is maybe a little difference. And second, I think because community college is not a big scale compared to the size of the UC. So sometimes it's a little hard for you to find some friends that you can talk with. And I think this is two main parts because and the UC, because there are already some friends, they know each other, but as you already as a transfer student, and sometimes it's a little hard for you to find the new friends that can talk with.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing that. If I could pass the same question on to Nelly, did you notice a large cultural shift?
Well, as Johan said, of course, the size does matter. UC San Diego is UC San Diego is a bigger school, and it's way harder to navigate and find friends as a transfer student. And also the classes are way bigger, and professors are pretty responsive, but they might not have a lot of time after the class because they have to run to another class or run to work, because some of the professors are working professionals and teaching part-time. So there are different aspects to that question, but definitely as a transfer student, it's maybe a little bit more challenging to find the right group of people because the school is bigger. People are very different, and it's not that easy to find people with common interests or with common culture or with someone that you will just simply get along. While at the community college, it was way easier to find friends because it's like 5 times smaller. It was way easier to be friends with your professor. We had a maximum of 30 people classrooms at Foothill College, 30, 35. And you knew all of your classmates, you knew all the professors, you knew all the faculty. I also used to work at Foothill College, so I knew even more people because of that. So yes, definitely, I would say for transfer students, the best thing to do is just to be as involved as they can since the day one they get to UC San Diego, because time flies. These 2 years are not enough for transfer students to actually get the chance to use all of the opportunities and all of the benefits and all of the resources that UC San Diego provides.
Okay, wow, thank you. That's interesting, and there seems to be a large difference in the culture between community colleges and San Diego, UC San Diego. Heike, if I could ask you the same question of, did you notice a large cultural shift when you transferred?
I don't think so. But also this is my first quarter as well, so I haven't had much time to interact with the people here. But I think it's not too much different because I'm from LA, so it's very similar to San Diego. But otherwise, I don't think there's actually that much of a difference. It feels mostly, it's obviously different, but it feels like I haven't felt any major culture shift actually.
Okay, cool, interesting. Reagan, how about you? Have you noticed a large cultural shift when you transferred, or not really?
Yeah, so again, I've only been here for 2 weeks. I feel like I don't really have the best experience to, give a good opinion, but I agree with a lot of the other people. Pretty much the classes are bigger. Like, I've never been in a class with 250 people. And then yeah, it is definitely harder to get attention from your professor. Like, most of your interaction is with the TA, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. The TAs are great here. They are very knowledgeable about the subject. That's definitely different from, just catching your professor after class or going to their office hours. And And I don't know if this is just because of the virtual environment or because it's a bigger school, but I do find it harder to interact with people and, you know, find your group or whatever. But yeah, I just can't tell whether it's because of the online school or because the school's bigger. But at a community college, I definitely had an easier time just finding a group.
That's one thing that makes me nervous. In DVC right now, I have a very close circle, and when I transfer, I don't know if I'm going to know anyone. So thank you for sharing. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, well, it's all up to you. Like, I definitely could be trying a lot harder, but I'm not saying you can't do it. It's just it's up to you. But it does feel a little bit more intimidating in my opinion.
Thank you so much again. Our next question is, frankly, not something I have that much knowledge on, but I know UC San Diego has colleges or sub-colleges, and to my knowledge, everyone is sorted into one. And for my question to you, Han, did you get into the UC San Diego college of your choosing? And I'm talking about Thurgood, Revel, John Muir. Were you placed into one of those?
So when I applied, my first option is 6 college, and after I go San Diego, and then I also went to 6 college. So I think I entered the college that I chose when I was applied. So, and I think for 6 college, I think it's pretty good because I mean, for every college, I knew that we need to have the writing class, right? And I heard my friends say, I mean, some college, the writing is so challenging and difficult. Sometimes you need to read more than 200 and 300 pages for a week for readings. But I mean, for our college, the writing is okay. And I think it's not as challenging as other colleges, but still, I think I choose what I choose before.
Okay, thank you for sharing that. Nellie, if I could ask you the same question, what UC San Diego College did you get into, and was it the one of your choosing?
So regarding the UC San Diego colleges, it's like a whole nother story that I would like to encourage all of the transfer students to do as much research as you could before picking the one that you want to get in, and actually study all of the requirements that you have to take, because I'm assuming all of the transfer students already have their IGETC. So please do research before picking one on what are the remaining requirements, because I didn't do that part very well and I got into Rebel, which wasn't the best thing that it wasn't the best thing that happened to me here at UC San Diego. But what I did since my first quarter at UC San Diego, which is last fall, I was talking to my advisors, to college counselors, to teachers, to so many people trying to actually do the internal college change, which I did, luckily, but a lot of people would discourage me and say, there's no way you can transfer from one college to another. It's impossible, blah, 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 and all that kind of stuff. But, you know, I decided to give it a try because it wouldn't hurt. And Revel had so much more requirements for me because I'm not a bio or STEM major, and it had like a bunch of requirements and chemistry, natural science, biology, physics, calc, which I didn't want to take because it's like extra 5 or 6 classes, which would definitely impact my schedule and my 2-year plan. So I tried and I got transferred to Marshall College, and I'm happy with the ending because now I just have to take 2 general education courses and I'm done. So please, please, please do your research and make sure whatever the remaining GE college has does fit in your schedule. and with your classes.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing your experience. I feel like that's interesting, transferring between UCSD colleges. I've never heard of someone doing that. Hike, if I could ask you the same question, did you get into the UCSD college of your choosing?
Yeah, so when you apply on the UC application website, if you apply to San Diego, then you have to rank your colleges based on which one, your top preference down to your the one you wouldn't want to get into. And frankly, I don't remember what I put for my preference. I know I did like do research into which ones were the best for my major. And I think it might have been Warren, but I got accepted into a 6th college. But I'm honestly, it doesn't seem bad. I just have 2 classes that I need to take in order to get my degree. So honestly, I still have no idea whether it's like I got screwed or something, but it doesn't seem that bad. But yeah, I would definitely recommend doing your research into, because if you are in the wrong college, that can probably really impact your plans. So you should do your research. Yeah.
6th is a good one too for transfer students, so don't worry.
Okay, good.
Interesting. Cool. Reagan, how about you? What about your UC San Diego college?
So I got into Revelle, which I believe was my 3rd choice. I don't know, probably was something like that. My first choice, I think, was Mirror, and it was just based on the mission, because I think, from what I remember, I think they really value like environmental and like sustainability and stuff, and that's something that's really important to me. And then I also looked at all the general education requirements, but yeah, I got into Revelle, and I was fine with it. I wasn't too set on any particular college, but like Nelly said, Revelle's general education requirements are pretty math and science heavy, but that actually works out really well for me because that really overlaps with my major requirements. And I also switched majors within the STEM field a few times. So yeah, I was able to clear out all my GEs before I went in. I didn't have anything else to do. So it worked out really well in my favor, but it all depends on your schedule and community college. So yeah, just do your research.
Thank you for sharing that. I guess the next thing we're going to be headed into is more transfer experience questions. And for you, Han, if I can ask, what do you think made you stand out from the applicants when you were applying as a transfer student? And I'm talking about extracurriculars, academic performance, internship or job experiences, awards, honors, well-written personal insight questions. What made you stand out? At least, what do you think made you stand out, Yuhan?
I think from my overall experience, I think for the UC University, if some of you guys want to apply it, so I think the most important things, and it's also the reason why I can be admitted from UCSD, is the GPA. I think the GPA is the most important part to apply it. If you don't have an excellent GPA, or I mean, for me, at least 3.7 of my major, I think even though you have a very excellent internship or activities, you still will not be, I mean, the percentage still not be too high to be admitted from the other UC universities. So I think for me, it's a GPA that helped me to stand out. Even though I actually did a lot of internship or the extra activities, but still I didn't get admit from the UC Berkeley or the UCLA. And after that, I think a lot and reflect that is my GPA is not high enough. So from this point, I think, yes, I think for UCSD, I think the GPA is most important part.
Okay, that's interesting. Thank you for sharing that. Nelly, if I could pass off this question to you, what do you think made you stand out from other applicants?
Well, GPA is important, of course, but I think for me personally, maybe I think well-written personal insight essay in the application was the key, because I really spent a lot of time on writing my personal insights questions and making sure I'm using every single word with meaning And because, you know, there's a certain word count limit, and I understood that I need to convince the reader in 2 to 3 minutes to make, like, to interest her and to continue read my essay and understand that I'm a good fit to the school. And of course, they have access to all of my transcripts, to my GPA, to my grades. And I just was trying to kind of in the essay touch the most important things about my experiences, about my extracurricular activities and all that sort of stuff. So I think that a well-written personal insight essay will help you a lot.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Heike, if I could bring this question to you too, what do you think made you stand out?
I'll be honest, I think for me, for my major, the like maybe 95% of the factor that mattered was my GPA. In my first year at community college, we had a transfer acceptance officer from UCLA speak to our computer science club. Basically, he told us that really the only factor they look at is GPA. And this was for UCLA, so it might be different at other schools. But from what I understand, at least for STEM majors, especially anything in schools of engineering, GPA is like the biggest thing. So that's what I focused on. I made sure that my GPA was as high as possible. And so that's not to say that you shouldn't do extracurriculars or anything. Not only because it might help your application, but also because it's just good for your own enrichment. But yeah, for my major, I think the GPA was like almost entirely the focus.
Interesting. Thank you. Reagan, can I ask you what you think made you stand out from other applicants when you were transferring?
Okay, so like everyone else, I did do well in some pretty important classes, but I think the biggest thing that made me stand out was that I worked as a tutor at my community college for 2 years. And that ties into making my personal insight questions really well written, because I learned a lot of really important skills from tutoring. And since it was such a big part of my community college experience, I could write a lot about it and how much of an impact it had on me. And I know tutoring is not something a lot of people can do, because it's one thing to be good at a subject, but if you can teach it to other people, especially if they have like if they have learning differences or learning disabilities, that's a really important skill to highlight in pretty much anything you're trying to apply for. So I think that's my best guess that made me stand out among other applicants.
Thank you. That's an interesting thing that you got to put out in your application. Definitely makes me question, because I'm in the process of writing them, what I'm going to do for mine. But going to the next question, Yuhan, and mind you, if this is too personal, we don't have to quite answer this, but you've seemingly already answered this question to us, which is, what was your GPA when you transferred? But I'd also like to ask you, what would be the top tips you would give to the audience of how to maintain a good GPA?
So when I transfer, my overall GPA is 3.74. I remember that. So personally, I think, so if you want to maintain a good GPA, I think there are a lot of strategies you can use when you are at the community college. Like first, you can, for example, if you take 4 or 5 classes and each quarter or semester, you can choose 2 classes that is about your major, and the rest of 2 that is more about the GE, which will make you not feel so overwhelmed. And I think this is one point that can maybe keep your GPA well. And the second is always do everything before you do, like just plan ahead. For example, if you want to take your major class, like the maths or English or accounting, economy, just read the syllabus carefully and prepare the class materials before the class actually starts. I think that is very helpful to you to know what is the whole schedule of the class and help you to prepare the each week's quiz and also midterm and final. Yes.
Okay.
And I also apply the UC universities. I think I want to give you guys one more tips. It's like, so it's better that you can do the good GPA before you apply the UC universities. For example, so usually students will be at the community college for 2 years, but you will apply after you study 1 year. But I mean, for my own opinions, I think they will take more carefully about your GPA before the 1 year. And after you applied the GPA, I think they will also, I mean, some of the basic criteria, they will still see it. But I mean, for the GPA part, they will see more about the GPA that you, at the time you applied it. So be very careful about the GPA at that time. I mean, for some strategy, you can even put the hardest classes. For example, I know some students will take some of the very hard math or computer science. You can put 1 or 2 that is the hardest and put them after you apply the UC. I mean, that will help you, I mean, for the percentage, that will help you to increase your GPA because you don't take some of the hardest class.
Okay, thank you for that advice. That seems like really good advice. I also want to pass this question to Nelly about if we can ask about your GPA when you transferred, or what would be your tips to give the audience of how to maintain a good GPA?
Well, as Johan said earlier, always try to take the amount of classes that you think you're capable of. Don't try to like take too many. My main tips would be just be organized, don't miss any deadlines, deal with your class like how you would deal with your job, make a clear schedule, try to be a good communicator. And I know due to COVID, it became a little different, and it's a little different for students to make impression on the professor or like to be closer to them, and there's no longer that in-person interaction. But believe me, your work ethics, commitment, and punctuality will create you a good reputation in front of your professor, even though everything is virtually, even though they might not see you or they might not personally interact with you. They will remember your name by grading your papers. I mean, at UCSD, it's a little different because mostly TAs grade your work, but I know that at a community college, professors do all the work, and I don't remember any TAs in my community college. So you can try to stand out to your professor by doing that kind of things. And by having all that, it will already create you a good GPA. So yes.
Awesome.
That.
Thank you so much for the advice. Heike, if we could ask you the same thing about your GPA when you transferred and the top tips you would give for how to maintain a good GPA.
So my GPA was a 4.0. That was pretty much the only thing I focused on, making sure I had a good GPA. Mostly because I did apply to college right out of high school, but I didn't get accepted to any of the UCs that I applied to. So that really traumatized me. And I really didn't want to go through that again when I applied 2 years later at community college. So that was a very strong motivating force for me. And I think everyone should also find their own motivating force as to why you really want to do well. Because I would assume most people want to go to a good college, have a good time, and get their degree and have success in their career. So that should motivate. You should, I feel like, thinking about the future and about why you're in these classes and trying to get a good grade does help like push through some work that you have to do. And of course, I think procrastination is probably a big reason why some people, it might hurt some people's GPAs. I know for me, I procrastinated way too much, which led me to be way too stressed sometimes. I just had deadlines pile up on top of each other. So Yuhan's advice to get stuff done ahead of time is definitely a big one. And also, I would also recommend working with your classmates a lot. That really helped me. Finding friends in the same class who we could study with, or help each other out on any problems you were having. That for me, that was very important as well.
Okay, thank you so much. Reagan, if I could also pass this question off to you. What was your GPA when you transferred, and what are top tips you would give about maintaining a good GPA?
So I had a 4.0, and then my top 2 tips about maintaining a good GPA is don't overload yourself and ask for help. So what I mean by don't overload yourself is literally like don't take too many classes. Like I know a lot of people feel this pressure to get out of community college in 2 years or whatever their deadline is, but I guarantee you it's better to lighten your load and actually do well in your classes and actually learn than to just rush through them and just to rush through them and barely pass, because you're not going to get into the college you want to with barely passing grades. You want to have good grades that make you stand out. So I would say like letting go of your 2-year timeline or whatever it is really important, especially if you're a STEM major, because those major requirements really pile up over time. And then really, I ask for help. Like your college, whether that means go to your professor's office hours, go to your tutoring center, your college wants to help you, but you just need to ask for it. They're not going to approach you and pester you to do your work. If you're struggling, you got to go ask for help. They want to help you. You just have to ask.
Thank you so much for sharing that. The time is 8:20 and we will be finishing up around 9 o'clock. And as much as we have a few more questions left to go, I think we're going to have to shorten up a little bit of our answers, if that is okay, because I would like to have some time saved for our audience's Q&As questions. So I'd also like to mention to my audience, if you have any questions, you can write them down in the chat so I can measure how many of you have questions, and you will all have a chance to speak, turn on your mic and ask these questions yourself. So please do that in the comment section, but as you do that, we're going to keep moving on through our questions. So Yuhan, this goes to you. Could you name 2 or 3 experiences that you feel were the most important as a transfer student? This could be leadership, internship, volunteer. What were your 2 or 3 most important experiences as a transfer student?
So for my personal experience, I think, so my community college is at the foothill. I mean, the location of foothill is very wonderful. I mean, for the university, you have Stanford, UC Berkeley, UC Davis, and also San Jose, Santa Clara. I mean, for this excellent location of a lot of high-rank university nearby, you can really touch with a lot of students or people that you can, help you to increase your horizon. And I think this is a very good point. And also for that location, foothill near the Silicon Valley and the Bay Area, there are a lot of the high-tech companies. So if you just go outside, you can interact with a lot of high-tech people and also even the famous people. I still remember one day when I was in a workshop, I saw a lot of celebrity, like the CEO of Facebook and also the CEO of Zoom, and you can have a very high percentage chance to actually talk with them and to discuss about something that you are interested in. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Very interesting. Nelly, if you could also answer, if you have 2 or 3 experiences that you feel were the most important to your transfer as a transfer student, and I'm talking about like leadership, internships, volunteer, what were 2 or 3 experiences?
At the community college, right?
Yes.
I love my community college. I'm gonna start from there. Foothill College is amazing. I had the best time over there. And what made my experience stand out the most, what made me, I would say, a leader there, is people that were surrounding me, I would say. the most generous, helping, friendly, nice people on campus that would always be there for me. It was very, like, when my friends and I decided to open a brand new club, all the faculty members were so like, they were encouraging that idea. We also have a fund that gave us some financial help to actually maintain that club. And I would say that whole environment kind of motivates you every day to be better, to do better. And of course, the people and the location. I would agree with Yuhan on that too. That whole vibe in the Bay Area cannot just go past you. You want to learn more and you meet new people. And we had a lot of guest speakers in my classes that my professors would bring in. What was the other questions?
It was just asking if you could name 2 or 3 experiences that you felt were important in your transfer, like
So,
as a student.
the club that we opened the club on campus. I also used to work on campus. That was also a good experience that helped me to get to know people and connect with people and even faculty. So I would say those 2.
Okay, so it seems like a lot of on-campus things. That's
Right.
cool. Thank you so much. Heike, if I could bring this to you, do you have 2 or 3 experiences that you felt were important to you as a transfer student, and what kinds were they? Like activities or internships?
Yeah, first I would say I did 2 internships while I was in community college. And I think those were very helpful for me because I both got exposed to the process of applying for an internship and interviewing, researching the company, stuff like that. So I think that was helpful. And then the second would be, I think, taking some difficult classes. Like some classes I took really stressed me out, and maybe not in a super healthy way, but also I think it was important to have that experience of being really pushed in a class. So I really had to work hard to maintain my grade there, and I think that prepared me for any classes that I had in the future and that I will have here at UC San Diego. I'll feel from how I dealt with that class, I feel like I'll be more ready to deal with difficult classes now.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Reagan, if I can ask you the same thing, do you have 2 or 3 experiences that you felt were very important to you as a transfer student, or any activities or internships that you felt were important to you?
Well, I got my first internship after community college, so I won't really include that in this answer, but I would say the most important experience of my community college education was definitely working as a tutor, like I said earlier. And that was because I really got to work on my interpersonal communication skills. I got to meet a lot of people. And then also when you work as a tutor, you really strengthen your basic knowledge of whatever concept you're tutoring. Because a lot of the times when you take a class final and then you just forget all the information because you won't need it later. But when you tutor, you're forced to practice and constantly review all those basic concepts. And that actually helped me do really well in my more advanced classes because my basics were so strong from teaching it, from constantly reviewing it and teaching it to other people in many different ways. And then I would say another experience that was really important to community college was my organic chemistry class. So I had a really tough professor for that. He tore me to shreds for 2 semesters, but I got really good habits coming out of that class. And I learned how to, study all the time and ask for help when I needed it. I formed a really good study group. I'm still really close with them now. And then, so after leaving that class, I almost feel invincible and kind of ready for anything. So yeah, it was really tough, but I came out of it strong. So yeah, I think everyone will have a class like that, and just, it will suck definitely like during it, but just remember how strong you're going to come out of it, and you'll be prepared for a lot of things.
Awesome. I've definitely had a class like that. It's a great experience when you and other classmates can come together and push towards a common goal that's especially hard. But for some of my last questions, I would like to ask to Johan, what is your biggest piece of advice for succeeding in the UCSD application process or college apps in general? Like, what's your biggest piece of advice?
I think is like I just said, just plan your application as early as possible. Because when I was at the community college, I was supposed to transfer for 2 years, but because I didn't like the plan the whole application process earlier, and I think I wait until the November to apply, and I just found I didn't have some classes that fulfill the requirement, and also didn't have the time to finish my full personal statements. So I think you need to at least half years earlier to prepare the requirements and also the full personal statements. And I know some students, they will also apply the universities out of the California. So there are also the different requirements like the TOEFL or SAT for international students. So just prepare as early as possible.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Nellie, if I could also bring this question to you, what's your biggest piece of advice for succeeding in the application process?
I'm going to agree with Johan that definitely start in advance. Do your due diligence in advance. And if you do it, it will give you way more time to get as many feedbacks from friends, family, faculty, professors, or professionals on your personal insight questions, and just for the whole process overall. So yeah,
Awesome.
that.
Okay, thank you. Heike, if I can ask you the same thing, what's your biggest piece of advice for the application process, the UCSD application process, or applications in general?
Yeah. So definitely starting early is important. Because I also think you should make sure you do a lot of research, especially as a transfer student. Like out of high school, there's not much research to do except like what college you actually want to go to. But as a transfer student, I don't know why the process is so complicated, but you need to figure out like all the classes you need to take. And counselors often can help with that, but for me at least, they were often wrong as well. So if your school has like a college day or something where representatives from various colleges come and you can talk to them, I really recommend talking to them, because that's how I figured out what classes, what requirements I had to take. So I saved myself a ton of time by not having to take like 6 extra classes that my counselors had told me to take. So definitely make sure you have your transfer requirements like you're super sure about them.
Okay, cool. Thank you so much. Reagan, if I can ask you the same question, what is your biggest piece of advice for the application process?
So I agree with everyone else. Start early, especially if you're taking difficult classes at the same time as college apps. But I would say my biggest thing is making your application thoughtful, especially your personal insight question. Like in your personal insight question, don't just list all your accomplishments. There's already a section for that. They want to know about you. If you had a job or some type of internship, what'd you learn from it? How did you grow from it? And stuff like that. They want to know about you, not necessarily like your awards and stuff like that. So just really concentrate on like the learning and the growth you've done. Or if you had a negative experience, rather than just writing a sob story, focus on the growth. I don't think these college application readers want to read a sad story. They want to know how you grow from it and stuff like that. So I think just focusing on just your personal journey and growth is really, really important. And I think that will make you stand out, because that's really what makes you different from other people.
Okay, thank you so much for that. We're going to be moving on to the Q&A section of our panel. And I see that our first questions have come from Lee, who has put down a couple questions in the chat. And I want to ask Lee if you would be open to turning on your mic and asking them yourself. If not, you can message me through the chat and I can ask them for you.
Yeah, the first and the second question is for everybody, just curious. And also, I come from China. In San Francisco right now, my college is Berkeley City College. So my English is not very good, I mean, for writing part. So I'm always scared about that. And I don't know how to improve my writing for the essay in the future. Yeah, if there are any websites that helps, yeah, that would be great. And also, you know, during COVID-19, everybody, you know, has hard life, like stay home every day. But still, some people, they can get opportunities to do, you know, jobs or intern. Yeah, is there any way to do that? Yeah, just information. And also, I want to learn computer science. I haven't started college yet. I get accepted from Berkeley City College, but I will start next year in the spring. So I just want to know everything in the beginning. That would be good. Yeah. So I know that major is very hard to transfer. Yeah. So is there any advice for that major or similar majors?
I guess we could start off with the first question Lee asked. Thank you for your questions, by the way. They're in the chat if you would like to review them. Johan, I guess we could start with you with answering the first question, but so is there any way to help improve the writing for essays?
So I'm also Chinese and also international student. When I mean studied and community college, I usually use Grammarly to check my grammar, and sometimes the system can suggest you how to improve your sentence structure or the logic. And I think maybe you can use Grammarly to check your grammars and improve it. And I can reply also the second one. So for the job, I think because your major is computer science, right? So I think at your community college, it has a lot of opportunities of finding an internship or a job that is related about programming or computer science, because you are near the Bay Area. There are a lot of high-tech companies. So some suggestion I will give you is to first try to ask some of your friends, or when you go to the community college, try to use some of the the school resources, like the job center, and also try to use some of the online resources like the LinkedIn, Indeed. This online tool can also help you to find some internship, work from home. Yeah.
Awesome, thank you. Nellie, if you could, did you receive any help when it came to writing your essays by chance?
So I can relate. I also came to the United States 5.5 years ago. And my main piece of advice would be try to get out of the comfort zone. Try to challenge yourself. Try to take difficult English classes. I remember I took up to English 1C honors at Foothill College. And honestly, I'm so happy I did that. I think it was one of the most valuable courses because it actually taught me how to write the college level research papers, like a 10-page research paper. And when I got to UCSD and got this assignment on to write a 10-page research paper on planetary urbanization, I right away remembered all of the advices, all of the feedback, all of the mistakes I've made back then in my community college, and it helped me out a lot. So I would really encourage you to go out of your comfort zone, try to do your best, read a lot, in my free time, I try to read any kind of books in English. It really helps. So yes.
Is there any better way to remember vocabularies? Because once I read something, the second day I will forget easily. It's yeah.
I would say make yourself flashcards and constantly maybe read them once in a while, or I would say the best way to remember is to actually practice it. Try to talk to people on challenging topics. Try to talk to someone about something you've never talked about, or, in a conversation, try to open up your abilities and try to remember some more difficult words, or, there's so much technology right now. Right away, just write down the word in Chinese and find out the translation, and it might help you to remember it better. So
Thanks.
you're welcome.
Thank you. And I know that Haik, did you receive any help when it came to writing your essays, or?
Yeah, it's good. It's good. Thank you.
Oh, okay. I know that Haik also you had a question for Haik about the courses he took for each semester, because you're also a computer science major, Lee. Haik, would you be interested in answering how many courses you had to take each semester?
I think probably like 3 to 4. I think that's pretty on average, like 3-4 classes. I would recommend taking as many computer science classes as you can. I don't know how much experience you currently have with computer science, but if it seems like you haven't decided.
Totally new.
Totally new. Okay.
I haven't started community college yet. Like right now, I'm staying in language school in San Francisco, and I'm staying home every day. Yeah, for sure. And the next year in spring, I will start community college. So, yeah, I'm interested in CS major, and I want to be an engineer for sure. But it's just it's challenging. It's so hard. Like everybody says, oh, it's so hard. Like too many mathematics courses and programming, different programming languages. Yeah. So it just makes me confused and scared. This part.
Yeah. No, I think you should definitely take like an introductory computer science class. Even if you don't end up picking computer science, you'll still probably need the class for engineering or something like that. If you're worried about math, you will have to take like linear algebra was the highest math I've taken. You will probably have to take something like that. But actually programming, like the most math you'll use is like basic arithmetic, basic algebra, and maybe like trigonometry. So it's not that bad. But yeah, I definitely recommend taking an introductory computer science class and just see how you like it. If you like it, then you can continue. If not, you can pick some other major that interests you.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping us answer these questions. I think that Lee was satisfied with the essay question. So if that's the case, I'd like to move on to Rachel's question. Rachel, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask the board, or someone specifically if you want, and ask your question.
Oh, so I just want to ask, do you guys have any advice or tip for applying for scholarships, especially for international students too, because since I am also one?
I guess our international student transfer students. I know Yuhan, you are a you're an international transfer student. If you could answer this question.
So at university, I don't try to apply the scholarship, but I know when I was at community college, some of my friends, they applied it, but I think just a few $100, not too much. And I also think if you want to apply the UC scholarship for international students, I don't think there are a lot of, because the UC already is public, and I don't think they will like the private universities that can provide you more generous to provide you scholarship. So I don't think there are a lot of, yeah. But you can
Nelly,
double
Yeah.
check. Yeah.
sorry about that. Nelly, I wanted to ask also, do you have any experience with scholarships or applying for scholarships or any tips?
I wouldn't be able to give any tips on that question, unfortunately.
That's okay. Thank you so much. Heike, do you have any experience with scholarships or not necessarily?
Unfortunately, I don't have any experience, but there's like a million scholarship websites, and I'm pretty sure our financial aid or the financial aid office of your school can also help you. So I recommend just looking it up online. I'm sure there's plenty of resources.
Awesome, thank you. And Reagan, have you had any experience for applying to scholarships?
Yeah, pretty much over the last few months, I've just been applying for as many scholarships as I can. So I guess my biggest advice is just apply for a lot, because even the small ones, apply for those too. Because if you get many of those, that adds up really quickly. And so some of them are really competitive, especially the large amount ones, but I think something that can help your chances, maybe looking up local scholarships. That's actually the only one I ended up getting. So just look up scholarships and then the city you live in, because a lot of the times in order to be eligible for those, you need to live within the city. So that can narrow down the competition a little bit. And then, like Heike said, there's a lot of scholarship websites where you can put a bunch of categories, whether it's like a STEM major, an international student, or a veteran. There's just a bunch of different boxes you can click, and then it'll give you all the scholarships that fall into those categories. But yeah, the biggest thing, apply for a lot, because they can add up really quickly and they're kind of competitive.
Thank you so much for helping us answer that question. Our next question comes from David. David, if you'd like to unmute yourself and ask the question yourself to one person or to the whole board, just ask away.
Yeah, thank you for the floor. This kind of goes out to everybody. I was just curious, what online or in-person resources has UCSD offered to make fellow transfer students not feel as left out? And that kind of applies towards pre-COVID and I guess during COVID.
Johan, if you'd like to start us out, do you know of any like social or community things that UCSD has for transfer students?
And I don't take some events, but I know like the UCSD will constantly give you some email about the events about the different fields or your majors. So yeah, I think I don't know that too much. Yeah, sorry about that.
Yeah, thank you. Nelly, do you have anything to offer with this question about resources for UCSD students to connect?
Yes, so there's this Triton Transfer Hub that constantly organizes events to involve students in and try to make them get to know each other. I know before they used to held in-person events, but for right now, I think they do it online. They organize some game nights or some other activities. So I constantly see emails from them.
Awesome. Thank you so much for discussing that. Heike, if I could also ask you, are you aware of any resources or anything UCSD provides for social events?
I'm aware of them because I get like a million emails every day that I just delete them. I don't really attend them. But if you do like seek out the opportunities, it seems like there's a ton of them. There's like a lot of events for specifically for transfer students. And it seems like UCSD does do a good job of like offering those resources for transfer students.
Awesome. Thank you. And Reagan, are you can you like recommend any like social event, or wait, you've been there since COVID, but are there any social things, whether they're virtual, that you've been aware of that UCSD provides?
I've been finding a lot of things on Facebook actually. So yeah, UCSD tends to use Facebook a lot. So there's a lot of like transfer pages based on like your class. Like there's a transfer class of 2022 or whatever year they're in there, I guarantee you there's a Facebook page for it. And that's where a lot of people do like club promotion or Greek life promotion or whatever there is. So I've seen a lot of advertisements for that kind of stuff. And or just sometimes job openings pop up on there too. So yeah, but in addition to the emails, check Facebook as well. There's a lot going on there. I haven't personally checked out any of them though.
Awesome. Thank you so much for helping answer that question. I think we've already answered Lee's second question because we spoke about scholarships for and for specifically international students, unless anyone would like to add anything about scholarships specific to international students. I think we've practically covered this question. So I'd like to hand the mic off to Handy. Handy, if you would like to turn off your mic and ask your question, please.
Yeah, thanks, Emily. I have a question for Nelly. Real estate sounds like a super interesting major, and I'd just like to know what you learn exactly as a real estate major, and what is it like to study real estate at UCSD?
Of course, that's a very good question. When I first found out about the program, I didn't know much about it. So first thing I did is just went to see what kind of classes they're providing. And I'm gonna just name you like 7 foundation courses so you will have an idea like what we actually learn. And since the real estate and development program is under the urban studies and planning department, I can confidently state that we take a lot of classes with the emphasis in urban studies and planning. So it's not just real estate, but one of those core courses are land use planning, real estate laws and regulations, real estate planning and development, real estate finance and investment. The market analysis classes is a must, and sustainable development and business project management. So what can I say about my experience? All of the classes are very interesting, and my professors are mostly working professionals, which is amazing because they can give you like some hands-on assignments or some hands-on tips or advices. And I really enjoy the classes that I'm taking, and I did not regret picking this major at all, because this major prepares you to become a developer or a future broker, or you have a wide variety of positions that you can actually later on be at, because we cover a lot throughout this program. And I would also like to add on that we work a lot with Excel. Excel became my best friend. We were like doing market feasibilities and financial statements in all of my classes. Not all of them, but most of them. So that's been very helpful, because I've been noticing more and more how the top 10 companies of the US are requiring a proficient level in Microsoft Excel pretty often. So that's definitely beneficial for students to learn that at the university.
Awesome. Thank you so much for answering that question for us. And we actually are at our last question of the Q&A, and we're a bit early. What time is it? It is 8:53, so that leaves us 7 minutes for this last question. And I'm sorry, I'm going to butcher your name. Hanyang, if you would open your mic and ask if you're open to it.
Yeah, I just want to ask for some information about each colleges in UCSD. Because before this meeting, I thought each college is classified by majors. So I don't know, we need to like apply for college. My major is biology, so I want to ask for some information about each colleges.
Okay, awesome. Thank you. If we want to move it to Yuhan, do you have any recommendations for picking the college within UCSD for biology majors? What the
So,
most recommended is?
yeah. So for the first question, I don't think like the college are classified by majors. So, for example, my major is international business. I know there are a lot of my friends, they are not the same college as me. Some are the Marshall or the different colleges. So I think biology, you can be classified and the different college. It's not the same. So, and also for my college, what I know is like you basically will take the two classes. The first classes is about writing. And I think this writing, the level of difficulties is not too high, which means you will not feel overwhelmed. And the writing is very helpful. Like you are basically to write the essays that is about your future, either for apply the graduate or about apply to your job after you graduate. I mean, the writing is very practical and helpful. And another class you will take is one optional class. For me, I take my major class, the marketing, and I also think it's very helpful.
Awesome, thank you.
I'm sorry. Oh, which college are you in now?
I'm at the 6th college.
Oh, thank you. Gotcha.
I guess Nelly, if you would be also be open to answering about like what colleges you recommend.
Sure, I think we're running out of time, so I'm gonna try to be very short on this one. So it doesn't necessarily mean that a certain major will require you to be in a certain college. So I don't think you understood that part right, but each college has its own philanthropy and its own mission. So you would have to like kind of do your own research on that and see which one is closer to you. But at the same time, don't forget about the general education requirements and always make sure that that's something you would want to do. And if you're a science major, I would definitely recommend you to be in Revel. If you're not, the easiest college for non-STEM majors, I think it's Muir, if I'm not mistaken. But yeah, those are the things I know about colleges.
Awesome, thank you. Heike, do you have anything to say on the colleges that UC San Diego provides at all, or?
Yeah, so it's not any major can be in any college, but some colleges will be better for some majors. So it's up to you to decide based on your major. You can look this up, and there are people who ask the same question online, so you can find answers to their questions. So yeah, it's up to you to figure out what college would be best for your major.
Thank you. And Reagan, if you have anything to add on to this, if not, it's completely okay. But if you have anything to talk about when it comes to the colleges within UCSD.
Yeah, so again, make sure, look at each college has its own mission. So make sure the ones that you rank up higher are something that matters to you. And then since I am in Revel myself and a STEM major, I can definitely say that my lower division major requirements cleared out a lot of my GE. So I think in terms of that, Revel would be a good choice for you. But again, you need to make sure you do your own research and make sure your classes actually satisfy the general education requirements. But it worked out for me very well.
Awesome, thank you. I think this is all the questions. If anyone has any more questions, it's now or never to put them in chat, or just turn on your mic and ask them. But I think with that, it is currently 8:59, and I think that is the perfect time to wrap this panel up. So first off, I want to thank the audience for coming here. We appreciate your questions so much, and just thank you for showing up and thank you for being a part of this. And a special thank you for all of our panelists. Thank you so much for coming here and helping us with answering all these questions and just being such a good source of knowledge. Like, thank you all so much. It's been a pleasure to have you all today. And I think with that, I would like to, one more question. Oh, just thank you.
You're
Yeah, but
welcome. And I just wanted to say, good job, you guys. This is amazing what you guys are doing and actually providing to many students this opportunity to talk to the ones that already transferred. I wish I had the same thing back then. So that's amazing. I really want to point that out and keep going, keep doing that. It's really great.
yeah, thank you for coming here and helping us with that today. Overall, I hope everyone has a very good night. It's been a pleasure to have all of you today, and I hope you all have a very nice time. Thank you all again. Have a good one. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Thanks. Bye.
Thank you for coming on.
Bye.
Everyone.
Bye. Thank you, everyone.